you said you grew up around here?
Yeah, yeah, just short ways away. Right on the J.P. Roxbury line. Eggleston Square?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we call Fort Hill.
And it's changed a lot, I assume.
It has off and on, back and forth. But the more it changes, the more it stays the same. You know, I'm still very comfortable around. I spent my whole life in the area. Yeah, I'm real comfortable. I I remember as a child in the 50s, we would go to Jamaica Pond and we'd park on this street. And I'd say to my mom, Mom, you know, it's so beautiful over here by the pond, and that why don't we live over here? And she said to me, listen, this is in the 50s. I'm like 5 years old. She says, look, when you grow up, you can live over here. Right? You do that for yourself. And, you know, like 50 years later, I live on this very street
Oh,
by
that's
the
great.
pond. Yeah, yeah, it is kind of good, you know. It's interesting for me. It's kind of like a new career. I'm having a new thing happen, you know. After being 50, 60, you know. When I turned 50, I picked up the accordion.
Wow.
Man, I started playing with some friends. My buddy had one. He had every kind of instrument. And he called me one night. He said, I just bought an accordion. I said, is it small? He said, yeah, you know, Tex-Mex type of thing. I said, oh, man, I love those, you know. I played harmonica, tambourine. I said, I'll be right over. I was there at noon. And he was playing the freaking thing. He could play anything. I said, my God, sounds like a harmonica. He said, yeah, it's a hum thing, you know. I said, oh my, I said, man, I'm in love with it. He said, listen, I tell you what, I'm getting another one from him, the same guy, Sandy. And if I do, I'll trade you for this. Trade you a couple of knives, right? I had a lot of nice swords and knives. I traded them. And he said, now look, it's not a sculptor. It's not a sculpture. I want you to learn. I said, oh, sure, I can learn. And so I did, you know. And I was like 50 years old. It was like it's almost 15 years ago. I started playing out and stuff, right? And I got really freaking hot. I liked that horse opera. A lot of the old songs that I would pick up on in Western movies. You know, I like that type of stuff. Yeah, with the accordion, of course, I'm playing like a lot of Gulf Coast and you know, a little New Orleans, a little blues, stuff like that. But I really started with the Tex-Mex and the Texas swing, the polka music. I like that Texas swing a lot, right? So that's what I picked up on. I was red hot around here recently, you know. I went from Butch Mandy to Wild Butch, you know.
The name you went under?
It was a new,
Your moniker?
yes, it was a new, you know, career. But because as I said, I had retired from like actual work, and I was like at a loss for something to do. You know, I was sort of a bicycle bum. I used to cycle around a lot, you know, all over New England, everything. Kind of a loner. Didn't have a lot to do. I paint houses, move pianos, stuff like that. Anything to stay out of trouble, as we say, out of count. You know how they count the prisoners, right? So when you head out of count, you could be roaming around the compound. So I try to stay out of count right after a while, right? My old age. I took up music. It was a lot of fun for me. You know, I wrote it with bands, this and that. Musicians are like magicians. If you tell them, say, show me that again. They said, nah. He said, just do that last one. They said, no, I do a different one, right? They don't want you to catch it. So I'm rolling with them, and I'm like, hey, man, show me a couple of those. They wouldn't show me shit. So I got them good and drunk, right? And they told me about the 3-chord, you know, cowboy. I said, when I realized it was like basic, all your blues rock and that was like the basic chord structures, I quit roading. I really did. I had a solo act though. I had a solo act. I played around with different people. I know all the bands, and you know. But I like to play solo, sort of folk music, that type of a thing. Performance act,
Hmm.
for sure. That's my bag. I've been doing that for a while. I just recently broke my neck, my first vertebrae, for probably the third or fourth time. Right, bull riding. As I say, that's the clean story. The other was a red-headed Amazon. But, I'm recovering very well. As the doc says, he's amazed. He said, "You hold your chin in." I said, "I'm a real desperator." Hold your chin in like that. So he said, "Well, it's all healed up." So anyhow, I met this spring. What is this? 214. Uh, to hit the ground running. I didn't mean to do it backwards. But like I said, it's not the first time I broke my neck. I broke it cycling. I broke it fighting. It's a thing with me.
So, do you mean bicycling or motorcycling?
Bicycling.
Okay.
I never rode a motorcycle.
I haven't either.
No. I used to bicycle. My bonnet, my bicycle bonnet is leather. My helmet. Yeah. I used to ride back in the day. I used to ride 100 miles a day, no sweat. I mean, on the Cape, the Berkshires, the moors on Nantucket. I've done all that. I used to ride as far as Orchard Beach, Point Judith, Rhode Island. I used to do that all the time. When I was roading, take the bike apart, throw it in the truck.